Hey, welcome to this video on the factory method design pattern. Right, so I've already done a couple of these videos around the topic. The first video was the answer to the question, how do I make lots of objects? And that's the factory function. Simple, good stuff. Speaking of simple, the next video I did was the answer to the question, how do I make a lot of objects of different types? Especially when you don't know what those objects are going to be before the program's running. So you get input, you can make a different type of object, and that was the simple factory. I'll just do a real quick recap because it doesn't matter if you haven't seen the previous videos, because this is the real design pattern right here. This is what we've been leading up to. But what we did was we made a little shape making program. We were pretending that we were working at a company, and the boss came and said, hey, we need to make some sort of web app that makes shapes. Can you do it? Yeah, of course. We started off with just making one kind of shape. They came back, asked for more shapes, but we could handle it. We can add circles, we can add triangles, and we can also type in what we want, as long as it's a circle or a triangle here. Alright, so that got us to the simple factory, which, as we went through, is basically, it's just a conditional, an if statement, a switch statement, whatever. And we got to the point where we're like, what's wrong with this? This is great, right? Because we can just keep adding other shapes, just to, keep adding onto the bottom of the conditional. Fantastic. But the real world is the real world, and the real world of business, but also like programming principles. They say things should be closed to modification but open to extension, and that really applies here, because if someone comes, your boss comes around and says, hey, we need a square, like, all right, I'll slap another conditional on here, we'll have a square. Like, all right, we need a polygon, whatever. You're going to have to keep adding code to this function, aren't you? It's going to change all the time. And more than that, if you turn this code into a module, they're like, right, this make shape stuff is so good, we're going to chuck it into a module, and then you sell it, clients start using it, or you're in a big company, it gets put into a module, all right, another team is going to use it, and then the question is going to come up, all right, how do I add another shape to this code that's been closed off? Like, this is a module, we can't change the code in here in this make shape function anymore. Like, oh, okay, how do I make a new kind of shape? Like, I don't know. And that's where the factory method is going to step in. It's going to give people the power to make their own shapes, and spoiler, it's basically just like an interface where you can give them the kind of the guidelines to make a shape, and also a function that they would need to make a shape. But when it comes down to the actual details, they can do it themselves. And in programming terms, that'd be like an abstract class that defines what needs to happen, and then the subclasses themselves actually implement the shape, basically, in this instance. But yeah, we'll look at that later, and it will become clearer to you and to me. Right, enough hilarity. So how are we going to do this factory method then? I've already set up a little web app project here, factory method Typescript. The last thing you want to do is watch me try and set up Typescript and a Webpack dev server, as easy as it is. You always encounter some sort of issues, right? So I've got it sorted, pre-sorted to try and save you some time. And what we've got here is the factory method. This is going to be the module that people are importing. So this, when it's finalized, this will be like what's closed off, encapsulated, something to import, and the client is going to be the client, whoever's using this code, using this module. So how are we going to start off? Well, as I said before, we were going to provide an interface for how to make a shape, and we've already got how to make a shape here. So what we need to do is quite literally make an interface with Typescript to share our lovely shape knowledge. So back from the simple factory, we've got the shape specific properties and the properties that are general to all the shapes, but we are going to combine these so that it's everything you need to make a shape. We're going to copy that, and that's going to be the first entry in our make a shape module. So yeah, I think we need to get rid of the shape.style stuff because it's not really relevant to what we're doing. How do you replace that? Like this. Cool. And then we'll take this off. If anyone knows any sweet methods to make this bit quicker, please do let me know. I really mean it. I'm sure I'm very slow with the editor, but anyway. So we need to TypeScript these things up. No, what am I doing? We don't need any quotes, do we? We just need to say what kind of properties they are, what are the types. And obviously the point here is not that we need to know that everything's a string, as most things end up being, right? The point is the properties themselves. So we're going to do interface shape, and we're going to pop those in there. And now what have we got? We have got the interface of how to make a shape. So you want to make a shape, you need to implement these properties. Great. So what should we do next? Yeah, so an interface is pretty good. We could export this as a module and be like, hey, this is what you need to make a shape. But it doesn't feel great, right? It feels like it needs more. Because we've said how to make a shape, what a shape needs, but we haven't like implemented making a shape. So if you chuck this module out, like, okay, you give me some random properties, that's maybe what a shape needs, but how do I make a shape? How do I use this? So this is where the abstract class will come in. So we'll have a export abstract class. We will call it shape factory. Yeah, maybe I should have done a bit of a more real life scenario, but hey, it's easy for me, and hopefully it makes it easier to understand for you as well, but maybe I'm just lazy. Right, so one thing, do you know what, this is irritating me. This should be a capital S, shouldn't it? Yeah. So the first thing we need to do is we will tell the people how to make a shape, and that will be with the make shape function, which is a method. And this method is not actually going to be abstract because any subclasses that are going to inherit from this abstract class, they're going to implement this abstract class, are actually going to use this make shape function. So we can put the implementation here. So what do we need to make a shape? We need to document dot create, what is it? Element, yeah. Let's create an element, and it'll be a div because that's where our shape goes. suppose we need a reference to that shape, don't we? Oh, what could we call it? Yeah, let's call it shape. And then we're going to need the styles that we're going to apply to that shape. So what I'm going to do now is return shape. Yes, it's not ready. I know. But so this is the start of it, because we're going to make the element, we're going to apply the styles, but this is where the magic comes in, because if you just had this, I mean, it's going to do the same thing every time, right? But make shape needs to reference basically like a get styles function where the subclasses are actually implementing it. So we need to make this a get styles method. So it's going to be abstract get styles, and we need to say that Typescript styly, it's going to return an object that is a shape, an object that kind of conforms to the interface shape. But it's abstract, so we're not going to implement it here. We're going to implement it in the subclass. So let's make one of these subclasses and stop being so abstract. So I guess we should make a circle, right? So we'll do a class circle. No, it's going to be a circle factory, because this one's going to be kicking out as many circles as we want. So it's a factory. And what is that circle factory going to do? Well, already missed one. What it's going to do is it's going to extend our abstract class extends shape factory so that it can inherit make shape and implement get styles. So yeah, let's implement get styles. Get styles shape. Yeah, you're right, but we need more than that. We're gonna do get styles. Oof. What does it hate already? Well, yeah, that's fine. It's already complaining. It's like, hey man, you gotta return a shape. We're gonna give me a break. So let's paste in. Oh, actually no. Let's paste in from here when we've actually implemented a circle. Wow, we've got the right properties there. We're gonna have to do a little bit of both, I'm afraid. So we'll do this. We'll paste in all the properties that we need. We'll do an F. We'll do in the selection, and we're going to replace all this string semicolon with nothing. Ta-da! It's gone. All right, yeah, okay. So we're gonna copy these attributes, but I realized a little something. So you see this like shape.style.clipPath. That's like JavaScript, right? That's JavaScript's kind of harassing CSS properties. But what we're gonna do this time is we're gonna return kind of pure CSS properties and apply them to the element. Kind of, I suppose we're still using JavaScript, but they're going to be actual, do you know what I mean, like CSS things. It'll make more sense when I do it instead of me waffling about it. But anyway, let's copy these properties, and then I'll show you what I mean with my epiphany. What's these? What are these? Left. Again, I mean, there must be a quick way to do that. Don't know if you're often left feeling like that, like surely I'm doing this the wrong way, because how could you have to do so much clicking? Well, I know I've seen people just all keyboard. They're the best, but hey, I'm not the best. So let's change this into something more than an object would expect. Alright, so this is looking pretty nice. And what I was talking about is, so like clip path, the There's camel case. That should be clip path, right? And then we're going to have to get that in the quote. So we can plain and background color. Yeah, so that should be all right. So now it looks like we're returning a object that implements the shape interface, which is great, but get styles is still complaining. So let's see. Oh, of course, yeah, because I changed this, but I didn't change the actual type. So let's do some more mouse work here. Boo, boo, boo. Got that one. And we got this one. Still complaining. What does it want? Class shape factory defines instance member body get styles, but extended class defines it as an instance member function. All right, I've done something wrong here, haven't I? Maybe I should. How does this work? Yeah. Yep. What a lucky save. I'm glad that one was recorded. Right. So we have a circle factory that implements the abstract getStyles method here. Now we've got this make shape function. How are we gonna make use of the circle factory? To make use of the circle factory or any factory that is gonna extend shape factory, we need to do this, which is we're gonna have the styles, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this dot get styles. Right. So say we're gonna do new circle factory, and that's gonna make this. It's gonna inherit this make shape function, and then when it calls it, this is gonna be the circle factory implementation of getStyles. So this dot getStyles is gonna call this stuff, and it's gonna get these styles. If this happened to be a triangle factory, it's gonna get the triangle factory styles. Great. So this is, a very important part of it, because we're given the instructions here in make shape, the steps to actually make the shape, but then the subclass, whatever the subclass is, so circle factory, triangle factory, they're going to be, those implementations are going to be the one providing the styles. So kind of same process in the superclass, but the subclasses are actually saying how to, the specifics. They're trying to say, they're saying how to actually make the shape that you want to get. They're defining the styles, blah blah blah. So we got this const styles, we got the styles, we got the shape. So what do we need to do now? We need, right, so these styles at the moment, this isn't really design pattern factory method related, but it needs to be done. We need to get the styles onto the shape, which is a HTML element, a div. But at the moment it's just a object, isn't it? It's just a plain old JavaScript object. So we need we need to have it. Okay. So we would have we're going to use styles. It's an object. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to have object.entries of styles. Yeah. So then that's a array, right? And then we're going to map that, and we're going to have the well, what should we call it? Just prop value. Let's go nuts. Yep. And then, oh, hang on a minute. We need to surround this. We need to do this. And we need to return return some string interpolation, and we need a prop. We need this properly value. I think we also need to store that as call it applicable styles. Sorry, I'm cracking under pressure. That's not a very good variable name, but you know what I mean. So we've got the we've basically turned the styles object into an array, and then we're mapping over it, getting the prop and the value, and then just turning it into like a string that you would expect in CSS, like in the style attribute. But yeah, thinking about it, applicable styles is just going to be, at this point, it's just going to be like a, well, it's a map, right? So it's going to return another array. So this is all just going to be an array. It's a bit closer to this style string that I would like, but it's not right yet. So what we need to do is join it all into one big string, maybe with like this. That would be the CSS way, right? Alright, I guess we should do another one. We'll call it nice styles. Come on, give me a break, I'm trying my best. And then we need to get the shape DOM element, and we need to set the attribute of style, and then we're going to set nice styles. So I mean, that should be, whoops, that should be it. So we've got the circle factory, subclassing and extending shape factory. It's going to implement the get styles method. Make shape's going to get called. It's going to make a div. It's going to call this.getStyles, which is circle factory's getStyles, and then it's going to map through that. It's going to turn that object into an array, map through that array of key values. Going to return another array that looks a bit nicer, and then we're going to join that array all together with a semicolon so that it's proper CSS. Then we're going to apply that to the DOM element div as a style. So now hopefully yeah, that should work. So next up, what do we need to do? I suppose we need to actually start making use of this code. Right, to make use of this code, we should be able to make our own shapes. But first, we're going to export one of the factories that comes kind of pre-provided by this module, and we're going to go to the very lonely, empty-looking client. What we're going to import. So definitely, we need to import the circle factory, right? And then we'll work from there. So import circle factory, great. Remember that we're going to be working from this HTML file. It's basically the same one as from the simple factory. Yeah, so we've got this add circle one. So if we take, if we take that add circle, and we'll make an event listener document dot get element by ID. Great. Add circle dot add event listener, click. What we're going to do, you know what we're going to do. We're going to make a circle, aren't we? So how do we do that? Well, we need to use our new circle factory. circle factory. Yeah, we need to save that in something. Circle, why not? So a circle, new circle factory. Method. No, of course that was so. What we need to do is we do need to make a new circle factory, but then we need to call the inherited method make shape, which is going to use the circle factory's get styles. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. So I'm going to do circle factory dot make shape. So in this circle variable now should be a circle. We've got a circle, we need to append it somewhere. Yeah, we got a root. Let's do that. So document dot get element by ID root. We're gonna append our circle. So now, fingers crossed, we should actually have this circle. We need to get a terminal up. We need to, yeah, factory. No, we want factory method, please. And what we're going to do is npm run start. Or what is it? Webpack serve. That sounds. Sounds pretty promising, doesn't it? Wow, I mean, I thought it would just pop up by itself, but hey, that's our old one. Okay, can we? Oh yeah, all right, wicked. So we got circles, triangles shouldn't work. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so that's great. We've basically kind of re-implemented what we had before. We haven't done that triangle, but I'm sure you can imagine how we would do that. What we would do is export another class called Triangle Factory that extends Shape Factory with the get styles, but this time it would be the triangle styles. Why aren't I going to do that? Well, because I mean, we can do that easily, but the main thing here, right, was that this code is going to be locked in. So everything in this factory method module we can't change. So when we finished, we can't change it. That's locked. We're on client now. What we really need to do is to be able to make a new kind of shape without being able to edit this code in factory method, and we're going to do that now. So instead of re-implementing our triangle, we're going to go add square. Whoa, yeah, can't even spell square anymore. That's fine. Add square. Add square. Made sure to get it right that time. And we're going to do this on the client TS file. Now, how would we do that? So we need another import from our module. So what we got? We need the abstract class shape factory, right? So we'll import that. We'll import shape factory from factory methods. Yes, we will. Dear, oh dear. All right, and now we're going to make our own. We're going to make our own, but we can. I mean, we can basically steal it from here, because what we're doing here is we're kind of providing the circle factory to the client, which is great. But they can make one exactly the same on their side. So we'll have this like this, because the key thing here is that it's extending the shape factory, and we need to implement this get styles method, which will complain if it was like missing. If it's missing one of these, it's going to say, hey, I can't do this, I can't do this. This isn't, you haven't given me enough to make a shape, you haven't given me the right things. So to actually make a square, this should be square factory, right? square factory. This should be a polygon, and it should be like does it have? Let's look at the simple factory because I can't quite remember. Okay, you just do the X and Y. I was wondering what split them up. Just because I've got a webcam doesn't make me a genius, as I'm sure you well know. But yeah, okay, so we're going to start from 0%, 0%, 0%, 100%, so that's down on the y-axis, and so that's z, and then z is 100, 100. You're really getting those Not a Genius vibes now, huh? And then it should be 100 on the X and 0 on the Y. We should make it another color. Come on, Square Factory. Right, well, before I get too excited, we actually need to have some sort of UI element that would call this. Did I? Yeah, okay. So this is going to be add square. This is going to be a square. Do you know what? Let's just copy this around. No more circles anymore. No one cares about circles. It's all about squares. All right, now I think we might have it. Let's have a look. Ah, yeah, nice. Squares and circles. We did it. Right, so I mean, whilst the circles and squares might not be that exciting, I was quite excited over them, but hopefully I kind of communicated to the main point, which is that this encapsulated code is we don't have to change this anymore. We got the interface that defines what the shape needs to have to be a shape, and we've got this make shape function that we can kind of inherit, and it will call this .getStyles, which will be the subclass implementation. So we can inherit, or maybe implement this class. It's abstract, but basically we can implement this abstract method, and we can inherit this make shape method, and then we have everything we need to make a shape. We don't need this code anymore. It's all sealed away. That's fine. We can use the circle factory. It's like someone's given us like a demo function, but at this point we can make our own shapes. And whilst I know the whole shape thing is a bit abstract, I'm sure it doesn't take like a huge leap of the imagination to like if you've ever had a coding job, this kind of stuff happens all the time, right? Your work gets bundled up, or like okay, we're gonna ship this bit off, and you know, I think it's all fairly common, and hopefully the point of the not modifying the module and being able to extend it resonates with you. Resonates. I'm proud that I managed to use that word. Cheers everyone for joining me. If you made it this far, I mean, you deserve a round of applause. But no, seriously, thank you. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully see you soon for another one. Cheers. Bye bye.